Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and I've got a very urgent report to share with you guys, and that is this. Our supply chain is literally imploding, not just here in the United States of America, but all across the globe. In fact, many are saying that they have never seen anything like this crisis, and things are about to get far worse on a global scale than anything we have ever seen before. And now we're seeing the ripple effect of this, and we're literally having our food prices go up, our gas prices go up, our everyday goods and commodities, everything is literally increasing, and we are seeing massive inflation on a scale that we have never seen before. But before I get into the report, I want to give you a quick reminder. Please make sure you get on over to restrictedrepublic.com. That is where I share unrestricted, uncensored content. You can see some of the stuff that we put up recently, but I want to encourage you, get there and get the real information, because I don't know how much longer we will be allowed on these alternative platforms. Also, I want to tell you guys that I am going to be at a conference. It's Steve Quayle's conference, June 11th and 12th, and it's called Extinction Protocol, Globalists to Initiate Tribulations. And you can see June 11th and 12th there. And this is a virtual conference, so you don't have to be there. Lots of amazing speakers. So check out gen6.com to get tickets to that. All right, so let's dive into this disaster that is hitting the United States and the globe. And here's this first article here that I want to show you, and it's called FreightWaves.com. Flexport, Trans-Pacific deteriorating. Brace for shipping tsunami. U.S. importers are now facing even more extreme delays ahead as container capacity maxes out. Now, the article goes on to state this. The number of container ships at anchor off of LA and Long Beach is down to around 20 per day from 30 a few months ago. Does this mean their capacity crunch in the Trans-Pacific market is finally easing? Absolutely not, warned Nigerius Pascas, VP of the Global Ocean at Freight Forward Flexport. And he says this: it's not going to get better. It is going to get worse. And that's a direct quote. He told American shippers in an interview on Monday. And he also goes on to say, and I quote, "What I am seeing is unprecedented. We are seeing a tsunami of freight," he reported. For the month of May, everything on the Trans-Pacific is basically sold out. We had one client who needed something loaded in May that was extremely urgent and who was ready to pay $15,000 per a container. I couldn't get it loaded. And we are a growing company that ships to a lot of TEUs, 20-foot equivalent units. Price doesn't always even matter anymore. That's how bad it is. They were charging this top rate on this unit, and they couldn't even get it loaded. So he's really sending a warning to the public, saying things are getting worse in our area. But he goes on to talk about this. Pascas said that the Trans-Pacific import volumes are still rising. He noted that January Trans-Pacific imports were up 10% versus 2019. And 13.5 in February, and then jumped 51% in March. And he quotes, "So now we're at 1.5 times pre-pandemic levels, with imports far outpacing retail sale growth." He attributed volumes to inventory restocking. The restocking is actually affecting the trade even more than the growth in demand. And that tells me that this is even going to last longer. And he also says this: as a result of the backlog of restocking demand, he thinks that prices will remain high and shipping will probably remain difficult for the rest of the year. And then after that, you have the peak for Chinese New Year in 2022. And then he says it's about to get even worse. He said that this situation today is the worst that he's witnessed, and he believes it's going to even be more severe. And he says this, quote, "Buckle up. The month of May will be the worst that we have ever seen," he predicted, because some shippers will have to wait in line behind the growing backlog in Asia. He expects, quote, "what's going to happen soon is that some importers won't even be able to get on the boat. For them, it will almost feel like trade is coming to a halt." So we've got this tsunami of ships coming to our coastline. And the problem is, they're not being emptied out fast enough. And at the same time, we here in America need to start exporting things, and we're finding a shortage of these shipping containers. And this is outlined in this next article here. And I think it's a really good one, but this is on dcvelocity.com. And it's this: the growing crisis in agricultural exports. Interview with Peter Friedman. And he says a lot of good stuff in this, but a shortage of ocean containers needed for exports. Remember, we have a massive imports coming in, but the containers are staying full because they can't get the stuff out. Meanwhile, we're trying to export and we don't have enough containers to export our goods. But he says a shortage of ocean containers needed for exports is causing a critical situation for U.S. producers on agriculture goods. And remember, your agriculture goods only last so long, right? But it says American farmers and growers of other agricultural products have had to endure a worldwide pandemic, an economic downturn, and extreme weather this past year. And now on top of all of that, they are facing yet another growing crisis. And this is why I say that we're going to have skyrocketing everything, which we're already seeing skyrocketing food prices in our grocery stores. We're seeing skyrocketing in our car prices, in our home prices. There is a lot of inflation going on, but it's because of the things he mentioned. You have the pandemic, you have the economic downturn, and you have extreme weather. Actually, right now on the West Coast, and let me just show you this, and then I'm going to come back to this article, but on the West Coast, there's some droughts going on. Here it is. Coin.com, epic drought means water crisis on Oregon and California border. Then we have here thehill.com as drought slams California. Officials are actually trying to stop Nestle from taking millions of gallons of water. So they're having to stop companies from making the bottled water there. And then we also have Yahoo News here, raw video. Governor Newsom has even declared a drought emergency in Sonoma and Mendocino counties there in California. So that's a lot of what he's talking about in this article here. This is some of the extreme weather. But on top of all of that, a surging tide of Asian imports is straining the capacity at the U.S. ports, especially on the West Coast. Import volumes are so high right now that ships remain at anchor in harbor for days, waiting to dock and unload their goods. And sitting on those ships are ocean containers that are needed for exports. It's a situation that has been exacerbated by a worldwide container shortfall for products with limited shelf lives like agriculture goods. The current state is nothing short of a looming disaster. Now, in the interview, they actually ask Peter Friedman, the executive director at the Agriculture Transportation Coalition, so the guy knows what he's talking about. They ask him this question. This is the one question that I want to show you in this article, but they say this: can you tell us about the current shortage of containers for agricultural products and why that is a problem for your exporting members? And he says, it is not an overstatement to say that the current situation is devastating to all U.S. agriculture exports. This includes products such as soybean, hay, which are our largest volume exports off of our coast, as well as cotton and processed food, both refrigerated and dry. So these are the kinds of stuff that we're going to have to be watching. He goes, but the reason it's devastating, and it's twofold. One is ocean carriers are looking at the revenue they can get on the inbound cargo coming from Asia, or what we call the eastbound. Those importers are paying $6, $8, $10, and in some cases $14,000 for freight rates for a container coming into the U.S. U.S. agriculture exporters have to compete with that, right, with producers from all over the world, and they really can't afford to pay those rates, like rates on like food products, right? Why would you pay that much on a freight when you're not going to make that much in profit? And that's what they're saying here. The value of the cargo in those export containers is not that high. Therefore, the export revenue that of the ocean carriers get for carrying the cargo westbound to Asia is more like $400, $800, or maybe $1,400 or $2,000 on the high end. So ocean carriers are making an economic decision to forego carrying cargo outbound across the Pacific instead of sending the containers back empty. So there kind of gives you a little bit of an inside look. And if you want more information, I'll leave this link in the description box below. But it's happening all across the globe. Obviously, we have Asia, the United States of America, and in the process of this, but even New Zealand is having shortages in this, and it's a global thing, it's worldwide. But New Zealand Herald.co.nz, shortage of refrigerated shipping containers causes havoc on New Zealand food exporters. So they're having some problems there. Now, here's some of the problems that we're having right here at home. This is USA Today as a result of this shipping crisis, if you will, this supply chain implosion, better yet. But here it is, usatoday.com. The microchip shortage explained, how it's impacting car prices and the tech industry. So we have this shortage of these microchips coming in through the shipping supply chain. And as you know, if you've tried to buy your car, or a new car, if you will, they're having lots of shortages in that area. Also here we have Daily Herald. Shipping delays are slowing dairy products, followed by land and sea. And then we also have Market Wash. Brace yourselves. Bubble tea lovers. The U.S. faces a boba shortage that may last for months. This is one particular product, but there's many just like it. And then we have right here, foodforzamzami.com. Container shortage threatens SA bumper fruit harvest. So it's pretty much affecting a majority of our food supplies and some of our goods and services there. But it's not just that. In fact, gas is also predicted and is going up, which is also going to affect our shipping across the country here in the United States of America. And here's that article. CNN.com. Gas shortages are predicted this summer. And you can see it's a very recent article. Then we have dailymail.co.uk. Summer travel plans for millions could be thrown into chaos by gas shortages after tanker drivers are abandoning their jobs to become Amazon delivery guys during the pandemic. Everything has a consequence. And it's always we, the American people, or we, the little people all across the globe, who have to pay the price. And I'm going to kind of sidetrack on this gas thing a little bit. It gets me so mad because one of the corporations that benefited the most by the pandemic has been Amazon, Jeff Bezos' Amazon. And now Amazon is going to take our tanker drivers. So now not only are we seeing billionaire 1%ers at the very top get richer, but it's also hurting our pockets while they continue to benefit. That's just a sidetrack there, and it gets me so upset. But bottom line is there is a lot of things happening. We've got extreme weather hitting. We've got our supply chains imploding, right, all across the globe. We have gas prices going up and skyrocketing. We have the chip crisis, the housing industry exploding. At some point, I think it could fall and we could see deflation again. But we all know what happened in 2008 with the crisis of 2008. And I think what we're about to see could make that look like a walk in the park. And that's why I want to hearken you. Be ready to pay higher prices on your food, on your groceries, on pretty much everything. Make sure you and your family are already secure in that area. Anyhow, I want to give a big shout out to my partner, BioTrust, and this is ketowithlisa.com. I've been taking this for the past couple of months, but this stuff is awesome, and I've got some here, but I do mix it in my coffee every day. And the reason I love this is you don't have to go on the keto diet, which is a really good diet. I've done the keto diet, but this kind of gives you the benefits of the keto diet without all the hard dieting. Now, obviously, you still, if you want to lose the weight that you want, you're still going to diet on it in your own form, but it doesn't have to be so keto driven. So it really gives you those benefits. And that's why I have decided to back ketowithlisa.com. So check it out now and you can get up to 51% off of that. Anyhow, thank you guys so much for tuning into the channel. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.